In 2018, the Chundavat or Bhatia family of Burari, Delhi, appear to be just like any other normal household. They owned two small businesses. One was a grocery shop and the other a plywood store. Their routine was so consistent that people in the neighborhood could set their clocks by it. Every day, without fail, their shop would open by 5:30 in the morning. But on July 1st, 2018, something unusual happened. That morning, the shutters of the grocery store did not open at the usual time. Since many locals depended on this shop for their daily milk and essentials, they gathered outside, waiting. By 6 a.m., when the store was still closed, the growing crowd began murmuring among themselves, confused and worried about why the family had not opened up as usual. One of the Chundavat's close friends, Gurcharan, decided to check on them. He went to their home and knocked on the gate. To his surprise, the gate wasn't locked. It gave way with just a slight push. Stepping inside, he climbed the stairs and reached the door of the house. As soon as he opened it, he was confronted with a sight that would haunt him forever. Hanging from the ceiling, in the middle of the house, were 10 family members. Their bodies were suspended side by side in a horrifying manner. A woman's body hung close to the wall, slightly apart from the rest, and in another room, the elderly grandmother lay lifeless, strangled. There were 11 members in total, and all 11 were dead. Their eyes had been blindfolded with cloth. Their ears were stuffed, their mouths taped shut. Their hands and feet were tied. The 10 bodies were hanging together in a disturbing formation at the center of the house. Shocked beyond words, Gurcharan ran downstairs screaming for help. Luckily, a police patrol vehicle happened to be nearby. The officer rushed in immediately. At first glance, the police thought this might have been a case of robbery gone wrong, something all too common in India, where entire families have been murdered for jewelry or valuables. But inside the Chundavat house, nothing was missing, nothing was stolen, and what the police were seeing did not look like a burglary at all. All of their jewelry, valuables, and expensive items were still inside the house. There were no signs of forced entry, no signs of a break-in, and no struggle marks on their bodies. It was almost as if they had gone to their deaths willingly, as though they had chosen to hang in peace. But how could 11 lives end together? How could 11 members of a family die at the same time? Neighbors described them as a loving and caring family. They said the Chundavats always looked out for each other, and there was never any indication of conflict. For such a close-knit family to be found dead in this way was beyond imagination. From the outside, the family appeared to be completely normal, a typical Indian household. But like every family, they too had secrets. There are always unspoken rules and hidden dynamics that don't come out in public. Before we uncover those secrets, let's first understand who the Chundavat family was. As I mentioned earlier, there were 11 members living under one roof, spanning 3 generations, something not unusual in India. Many Indian families live this way, with grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, and grandchildren all staying together. The oldest member was Narayan Devi, and the youngest was Shivam, the son of Lalit and Tina. The family consisted of Narayan Devi, the grandmother, her daughter Pratibha, and Pratibha's daughter Priyanka, Bhavnesh and his wife Savita, along with their 3 children, Neetu, Monu, and Dhruv, Lalit and his wife Tina, with their only son, Shivam. Narayan Devi was the eldest, while Shivam was the youngest in the family. Their official surname in documents was Bhatia, though in their locality they were often referred to as Chundavat. In fact, they themselves used both surnames interchangeably. The neighbors always had good things to say about them. The family was known to be kind, polite, and never involved in any disputes. Their children were good in studies, and the 2 businesses they ran, a grocery store and a plywood shop, were stable sources of income. By all appearances, the Chundavat family was financially secure and living a peaceful, happy life. Everything seemed to be going well for the family. Lalit was dedicated to his work, and from the outside, life appeared stable. So, one can only imagine the shock their neighbors felt when news broke of how they had all died, just 15 days before the tragedy. On June 14, 2018, the family had celebrated the engagement of 33-year-old Priyanka. Her wedding was scheduled to take place soon. Neighbors recalled how joyful the family had been, busy preparing for the marriage. This made the mystery even deeper. If they had planned to end their lives together, then why would Lolit spend 5 to 6 lakh rupees on his niece's wedding preparations? Why would they make such a large financial commitment if they knew that within 2 weeks, everything would end? When I began researching this case nearly a year before, these questions stayed with me, and they still do. Why did this happen? What led them down this path? And if there is one thread that runs through the Burari case, one symbol that stands out, it is the number 11. 11 members of the family were found dead. Police recovered 11 diaries from their home, maintained over a span of 11 years. The family itself had 11 members. The earliest notes in the diaries dated back many years, but the detailed instructions began in 2007. The instructions were tied to one man, Bhopal Singh, the late patriarch of the family. He was, in many ways, the foundation upon which the Chundavat household had been built. In his youth, Bhopal Singh worked as a farmer in a village in Haryana. Later, while looking for work, he met Narayan Devi's father. Impressed by Bhopal's honesty and sincerity, Narayan Devi's father offered him both a job and his daughter's hand in marriage, asking if Bhopal would become his guardian, a son-in-law who lives with the wife's family. Bhopal agreed, and thus became the head of the household. He commanded immense respect. Whatever he said was final in the house. This is a dynamic many Indian families will recognize. Within joint families, the eldest member usually becomes a decision-maker, and the rest follow without question. For the Chundavats, that figure of authority was Bhopal Singh. When he was alive, he not only led the family, but also supported them financially. But in 2007, Bhopal Singh passed away. His death left a void, a vacuum of leadership, authority, and spiritual guidance. The seat he once occupied in the family structure was left empty. The question then arose, who would lead the family now? Would it be the elder brother, Bhavnesh, or the younger brother, Lolit? While Bhavnesh was the older sibling, Lolit was the one most deeply shaken by their father's death. The tragedy hit him harder than anyone else, and it would soon change the entire course of the family's fate. In any household, whether in India or abroad, there's always some form of power hierarchy. And where does this come from? It usually comes from the person you either obey the most, respect the most, or fear the most. Not every individual holds the same influence. Sometimes, there may be someone whose words you always listen to, but others don't take them seriously. Or, it could be that someone speaks very little, but whenever they do, their words are treated as final, like a command carved in stone. The same thing happened in the Bhatia family. Bhavesh was the elder brother, but Lolit, despite being younger and less experienced, became the central figure of authority in the house. He was quiet, reserved, but he became the father figure after their father, Bhopal Singh, passed away. If the family was like a car, then Lolit was the engine driving it forward. Though Lolit and Bhavesh were 6 years apart, Lolit seemed far more aligned with his father in temperament. After Bhopal Singh's death in 2007, Lolit became even more withdrawn and silent, and it was then that the 11 diaries came into existence. Lolit had been in the habit of writing since his college days, even before his father's passing. But after 2007, something unusual began. Lolit started writing in his diary every single day, and the content was not ordinary thoughts, but detailed instructions. Reading those notes felt as if someone was directly speaking through him. The family believed that these writings were not Lolit's own, but messages from their late father, Bhopal Singh. You may have heard stories of spirits possessing someone's body, making them speak, act, or even change their behavior entirely. The Bhatia family believed something similar was happening with Lolit. To them, Lolit was a medium, a channel through which they could communicate with their late father. Through Lolit, they could send messages to Bhopal Singh, and in turn, Bhopal Singh could send guidance back to them. I cannot tell you what to believe or not believe, but the Bhatia family truly believed this. They were convinced that even after death, Bhopal Singh was watching over them, guiding them and protecting them. And when Lolit was possessed by his father's spirit, his voice, his tone, and even his mannerisms would change, resembling his father completely. So by now, it's clear that the Bhatia family was deeply superstitious. They place immense faith in these rituals and signs, and this belief system would soon play a chilling role in their final days. In fact, just one day before the mass suicide, or what some still question as murder, the police recovered CCTV footage. In it, family members could be seen calmly buying stools from a local shop and bringing them back home. Probably, in the CCTV photos, you can clearly see Drew carrying only a stool in his hands, purchased from his own shop. The strangest part was how everything looked so normal. To the family, this was just another ordinary day, an everyday activity. And I say ordinary because you and I both know that if the family members were aware of what they were about to use those stools for, there should have been at least some sign of fear, hesitation, or nervousness on their faces. But in the footage, nothing like that was visible. Neither their behavior, nor their expressions, nor even their body language suggested that they were anxious about the following day. There wasn't the slightest hint that they were scared of the upcoming ritual. The entire spiritual ritual, the Bod Puja, was described in detail in Lalit's diary. On the very last page, he had written out the steps. It said, "The ritual must be performed 7 times in a row. If anyone visits the house, it should be done the next day. Nothing should be revealed to outsiders. Only temple lights must be used. Eyes must be closed and blindfolded tightly. The mouth should be tied with cloth. The body must be kept completely still, with no movement, in a state of zero activity. Except for listening and breathing, nothing else should be done. Stand alert, imagining that floodwaters are wrapping around you. The ritual must be performed with full determination. When the color of the water changes, I will come, Father will return, and he will save us. The flood of suffering will end." This is what the family believed. And just like the branches of that banyan tree where their bodies were later found, police discovered the family members suspended in the same fashion. There were no signs of struggle on any of the bodies, except Bhavesh's. His hand was on a cloth tied across his mouth, suggesting that in the final moments he may have realized what was happening. But apart from him, no one else showed resistance, not even the children. Either every single family member had complete faith in this Bod Puja, or they trusted Lalit and their late father Bhopal Singh so much that they surrendered themselves entirely. All 11 of them placed their belief in Lalit's words. All 11 trusted that when the water changed color, Bhopal Singh would return to save them. But the biggest question remained. Why? Why would 11 educated people, including children, believe in such an extraordinary ritual to the point of giving up their lives for it? Faith can make you see things that aren't real. Just like you can see an airplane's trail in the sky if you try hard enough, belief can create illusions. But the question is, how can an entire family of 11 fall so deeply into this illusion together? The truth about this case, we don't really know, because the real truth of the Burari case was known only to those 11 people. And since they are no longer in this world, so much about this case remains unanswered. There are endless mysteries here. My first question is, why did nobody ever question Lalit or Bhopal Singh's plan? As I mentioned earlier, almost everyone in this household was educated. 3 generations lived together, with different perspectives and experiences. So why didn't a single person raise doubts about Lalit's plan? We don't know the definitive answer. But in my opinion, the reason is this. For 11 years, they had been writing in those diaries. And whatever was written in the diaries always turned out to be beneficial for the family. For example, the writings would indirectly say things like, "If you do this, your business will grow." And when they did it, they really did see business growth. Or it would say, "Get the girl married here, and things will prosper." And when they followed it, things genuinely worked out. After hearing such things repeatedly for 11 years, the family started believing that following the diary's instructions brought success. Each time they obeyed, they saw growth and progress. And that made it easier for Lalit to convince them. It became easy for him to make them believe that in the end, everything would be fine, that eventually they would all come back. I still believe this. Causing psychological damage is far greater than causing physical harm. Physical wounds may heal, but once the mind is captured, it cannot easily be freed. And over the years, Lalit built so much trust that he gained complete psychological control over the entire family. Some people even believe that Lullet himself might have been suffering mentally. But regardless, the effect was real. My second question is, how did they keep this secret for so many years? Not once in 11 years did any family member reveal anything about these rituals or the diary. Think about it. In today's world, people overshare everything. People love to tell others their problems, and most people can't keep secrets inside for long. And yet, this family, including children, never spoke a word. Let's assume the adults, Pratibha, Savita, Tina, were brainwashed by rituals and superstitions. But what about the kids? They were in school, they had TVs, they had phones. How did they never slip up? My opinion is, it all comes down to control. Everything written in the diary appeared to be for the betterment of the family. For example, it would say things like, Dhruv is getting too distracted by his phone. Pay attention to him. Or, the fights inside the house are affecting Lullet and Tina. Reduce arguments at home. So the family believed this wasn't Lullet speaking, but rather Bhopal Singh guiding them from beyond. And when they didn't follow instructions, the diary would warn that Bhopal Singh would punish them. This created both fear and respect for Lullet and for their late father Bhopal Singh. That fear and respect combined ensured that no one revealed anything outside. And in Indian families, there's already a deep-rooted belief that family matters stay inside the house. Don't show your problems to the outside world. I believe that mindset also played a role. My third question is, where did the number 11 come from? 11 notebooks, 11 years, 11 family members. The house had 11 windows, 11 ventilators, 11 pipes, 11 railings. This can't just be coincidence. Either it was an extraordinary pattern we don't yet understand, or the number held symbolic significance for the family. The media, of course, amplified this. When journalists saw 11 pipes jutting out of the house, they spun theories like the souls of 11 family members escaped through these 11 pipes. The number 11 became forever linked with the case, and maybe we've also been influenced by the media's storytelling. My fourth and final question is, who was really writing in the diary? On the surface, it seemed like Lullet was writing, channeling the voice of Bhopal Singh. From 2007 to 2018, the instructions written in the diaries mostly affected Lullet and Tina. For example, Bhuvnesh obeyed Lullet's words. Alcohol is entering the home in the form of Kalyug. Avoid it. I know Lullet is unwell. Don't worry. My presence affects his body. He will recover with sleep. These sound like caring instructions, but if you hear them in Lullet's voice instead of Bhopal Singh's, the perspective changes. It starts to look like Lullet was writing to consolidate control over his elder brother and over the entire family. Maybe Lullet was the one truly hearing things. Maybe he was suffering mentally. Or maybe, after his father's death, Lullet felt the need to step into a position of power and invented this role. Most people who studied the case believe that Lullet was the main writer. But forensic reports later revealed something surprising. The handwriting wasn't just his. It also matched Neetu and Priyanka, the daughters of Pratibha. So while Lullet may have dictated or influenced the messages, the actual writing was sometimes done by others, college-going kids who were probably told to take notes, which makes this mystery even deeper. Just think about this. He would make youngsters do these things for him. College-going girls even used to write notes for him. In today's time, if any of us went through something like this, we would laugh at it, we would question it, but not for Neetu and Priyanka. For them, everything Lullet said was the absolute truth. And as I mentioned earlier, Lullet had some mental health issues. It is said that in 1988, Lullet had a bike accident. Because of that, he was hospitalized for quite some time. His college friends from that time confirmed that most of the damage from that accident was to Lullet's head. And this wasn't the only accident. Lullet had a second accident in 2004 while he was working at a plywood shop. Due to a payment dispute, he was locked inside the shop and set on fire. This wasn't just an accident, it was an attack. But Lullet survived it. However, this incident left him with lasting damage. In 2004, because of this attack, Lullet lost his voice. Then, in 2007, when his father passed away, he completely stopped talking to anyone. So, The situation now was that for years, Lalit neither spoke nor communicated with people. But a few years after Bhopal Singh's death, there was a religious ceremony in their house. During that ceremony, Lalit suddenly started reciting the Hanuman Chalisa. Everyone just froze and stared at him. That very moment made everyone believe that Bhopal Singh's spirit had entered Lalit's body. They believed that it was Bhopal Singh who had saved Lalit, giving him back his voice. In my opinion, when Lalit saw that everyone was looking at him with so much faith, believing that their father's spirit was inside him, he took advantage of that. He used this belief to regain his power in the family. And it was Lalit who started giving all those instructions. Yes, these instructions were often for the family's benefit, but I still think Lalit was playing a psychological game with them. He gave his family false hope that after the Bad Puja, the ritual, everything would return to normal. The family truly believed that after this ritual, everything would be fine, and even that Bhopal Singh himself would come back. But as we know, nothing like that ever happened. That's why this case remains a great mystery to this day.